Hey yo, what's up? Kuya Lance nga pala para sa Usapan Lansangan. And today, ang pag-usapan natin ay story ni Moses sa Bible. Okay? So from here, malalaman talaga natin ano ba talaga ang religion ni Moses at ano ang pinaniniwalaan niya, sino ang Diyos na kanyang sinasamba. Alright. To make things clear, hindi para sabihin na mali ang iba at tama kami, pero I just wanna show you the side of things sa Bible. Okay, so para wala na tayong patumpik-tumpik pa, let's hit the intro. Alright, there you go. Okay, so ang story ni Moses ay matatagpuan sa second book of the Bible, no? So ang Old Testament ay tinatawag din na Torah, no? Ang first 5 books is the Pentateuch, and then meron tayong book ng mga prophets and book of writings. Alright? So magfo-focus tayo sa Exodus. Alright, sa Exodus. Okay. So para sa mga nakabasa ng story sa Genesis, no? Sa Genesis kasi ang story ni Adam and Eve, story ni Enoch, story ng mga descendants ni Adam and Eve, basically. And then until sa story ng promise ni God kay Abraham. And then from Abraham, story ni Isaac, and ito kay Jacob. Alright. So, to cut the story short, no, nagkaroon ng famine nung time ni Jacob at napadala si on the course of the story, si Joseph ay napunta sa Egypt, naging governor, at dinala niya ang kanyang family sa Egypt, no? And sobrang madrama yung kwento na yon. If gusto niyo basahin niyo sa Genesis. Alright, so ang focus natin ngayon is the story about Moses. Okay? So, eto na, no? To cut the story short, yung tribe ni Israel, sabi dito sa chapter 1, verse 1, the sons of Jacob who went to Egypt with him, each with his family, were Reuben, Simon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, Benjamin, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. Okay. So actually, may 12 tribe ng Israel. No? 12 sila na magkakapatid. So the total number of these people directly descended from Jacob was 70. His son Joseph was already in Egypt. Ayan, yan nga yung naging governor sa Egypt during that time. Alright. So ang ganda ng story ni Joseph, no, kung babasahin nyo sa Genesis. I recommend na basahin nyo yan. Alright. In the course of time of Joseph, his brothers, and all the rest of that generation died. Okay, so patay na yung generation na yan, no? So, basically, si Jacob, also known as Israel, kaya yung descendants niya is tinawag na Israelite, no? Pinalitan ni God yung pangalan niya from Jacob to Israel because he wrestled with God. Basahin niyo yan sa Genesis, mababasa yung story ni Jacob sa Genesis. Okay, but their descendants, the Israelites, had many children and became so numerous and strong that Egypt was filled with them. Ayan, so dumami yung population ng mga Israelites, no? Mga Hebrew-speaking people ito, Israelites. Hebrew ang kanilang salita. And became so numerous and strong that Egypt was filled with them. Ayan. Then a new king who knew nothing about Joseph came to power in Egypt. Okay, ayan. So, may bagong king, no? Hindi niya kilala tong governor na si Joseph. Nasa time na to is patay na. And ibang generation na yung nabubuhay ngayon sa Egypt, no? Ng mga Israelites. Alright, ayan. So he said to people, these Israelites are so numerous and strong that they are a threat to us. Ayan, kinakabahan na tong king. Ako, napakadami na nitong mga Israelites. So second class citizen sila, baka magrebelde sila, no? Kasi, di ba? They're a threat. Lagi namang ganito no? Yung mga Jews, pagka naging part sila ng certain civilization, lagi silang nagiging threat. Feeling ng mga nakapaligid, they're a threat, no? Iba talaga pag may promise si God to a certain people, no? Talagang those people who belong to the enemy will be used to attack them. Ito, nakikita ko lang to, Clue na to. Clue na to sa mga history na paulit-ulit. Especially with God's people. Alright, sige, tingnan natin to. He said to his people, the Israelites are so numerous and strong. Ayan strong, parang ngayon. That they are a threat to us. Ayan. And the surrounding countries feel that they are a threat. Ngayon, tingnan natin. In case of war, they might join our enemies in order to fight against us. Ayan gumagawa na sila ng mga, alam mo yun, mga advance mag-isip tong mga to talaga. Kahit na hindi naman, yun yung talagang iniisip na nila agad. And might escape from the country. Yan. We must find some way to keep them from becoming even more numerous. Grabe, no? Parang nangyayari ngayon yan na ayaw padamihin ang population ng mundo. Okay, tignan natin. So the Egyptians put slave drivers over them to crush their spirits with hard labor. They keep them busy. Parang ngayon, we're so busy with the world. There's a lot of things that the enemy would put onto us para malayo ang ating attention kay God. No? Para yung attention natin is mapunta dun sa ating kinabibisihan, kinaubusan natin ng panahon. Alright, so the Israelites built the cities of Pithom and Ramses to serve as supply centers for the king. Okay, ayan so yung Israelites gumawa ng cities. Built the cities of Pithom and Rameses to serve as supply centers for the king. Ayan. But the more the Egyptians oppressed the Israelites, the more they increased in number, and the farther they spread through the land, the Egyptians came to fear the Israelites. Ayan, natatakot na sila sa mga Israelites. And made their lives miserable by forcing them into cruel slavery. Okay. They made them work on their building projects and in their fields, and they had no pity on them. Okay, so talagang pinatrabaho sila sa mga building projects at mga sakahan, no? And they have no pity on them. And the king of Egypt spoke to Sifra and Poa, the two midwives who helped the Hebrew women. Ayan, ito mga midwives, kinausap na. When you help the Hebrew women give birth, he said to them, kill the baby if it's a boy, but if it's a girl, let it live. Grabe, no? Ganto katindi ang king dati, no? Talagang yung abortion during that time, which is a sin. Yan yung ginagawa nila, which is parang ngayon, no? Nangyayari na ngayon, no? Yung abortion. Grabe ang significance kasi ng boy, or a man. Siya yung nagdadala talaga ng bloodline, no? A Hebrew is considered to be a Hebrew if it's ngayon kasi tinwist na ng ng bagong gobyerno ng Israel from ang law na nila doon is from a mother's blood hindi na sa men dapat sa man. So but if it's a girl, hindi ako feminist yun yung talagang nakugilian nung sa Bible. Hindi ako sexist pala or something like whatever you call it. So when you help the Hebrew women, no? Ayan Hebrew yan Hebrew po ang mga Israelites, Hebrew. He said to them, kill the baby if it's a boy, but if it's a girl, let it live. Okay, here we go. Let's go. But the midwives were God-fearing, and so they did not obey the king. Instead, they let the boys live. Ayan God-fearing ang mga midwives na Egyptian. And so they did not obey the king. Instead, they let the boys live. So the king sent for the midwives and asked them, why are you doing this? Why are you letting the boys live? They answered, the Hebrew women are not like Egyptian women. They give birth easily and their babies are born before either of us gets there. Ayan. So ang galing nung palusot ng dalawang midwives. Because the midwives were God-fearing, God was good to them and gave them families of their own. Wow. Diba? And the Israelites continued to increase and became strong. Finally, the king issued a command to all his people. Take every newborn Hebrew boy and throw him into the Nile. But let all the girls live. Grabe, no? Alam niyo naman ang Nile River kung anong meron doon. Ang dami pong buwaya sa Nile River. Ayan. Then, ang king nag-issue ng command, no? Na dalhin ang mga newborn na Hebrew boy and itapon sa Nile River. Grabe po yan. Sobrang tindi ng mga abortion na ginagawa. Hindi abortion talaga. Hindi na abortion kasi newborn na to 'Di ba? Talagang pagpapatay na to ng mga bata. So let's go. Punta tayo sa chapter 2. Chapter 2 na tayo. Ayan. Chapter 2 tayo. Okay, sabi sa chapter 2, during this time, a man from the tribe of Levi married a woman his own tribe, and she bore him a son. When she saw what a fine baby he was, she hid him for 3 months. But when she could not hide him any longer, she took a basket made of reeds and covered it with tar to make it watertight. Ayan ah. Yan, nilaminate niya yung reeds o yung parang damo ng tar. So laminated siya. So parang fiberglass yung dating no na ginagawa ngayon para maging watertight. She put the baby in it, then placed it in the tall grass at the edge of the river. So from the tribe of Levi pala talaga tong si Moses. Ang tribe of Levi po, kung for your information, ito yung mga bloodline ng mga priest sa time ng mga Hebrews. But when she could not hide him any longer, she took a basket made of reeds and covered it with tar. Okay. And she bore him a son. When she saw what a fine baby he was, he hid him for 3 months. Ayan. Muli tayo dun. The baby sister stood some distance away to see what would happen to him. Ayan. So, basically, nilagay nila sa basket na watertight and placed it on the tall grass at the edge of the river. So, nilagay nila sa river. So, ayan na. Ayan na, let's go. Alright, so binantayan to ng kanyang kapatid na babae. So, the king's daughter came down to the river to bath. Ayan, may prinsesa na maliligo sa ilog. While her servants walked along the bank, suddenly she noticed the basket in the tall grass and sent a slave woman to get it. Ayan, so napansin niya na may basket doon sa river bank kung saan may bata. At sinabihan niya ang kanyang katulong na kunin yung bata or yung basket. The princess opened it and saw a baby boy. He was crying and she felt sorry for him. This is one of the Hebrew babies, she said. Alright, medyo maingay yung yung baby ko sa background. Nanonood kasi sa TV. Alright, so yan. Ito na yung story natin. The princess opened it and saw a baby boy. He was crying and she felt sorry for him. This is one of the Hebrew babies, she said. Yan. So then his sister asked her, shall I go and call a Hebrew woman to nurse the baby for you? Please do, she answered. So the girl went and brought the baby's own mother. Ayan. Galing, di ba? So the princess told the woman, take this baby and nurse him for me and I will pay you. So she took the baby and nursed him. Ayan. So ang galing, di ba? Ang kinuha pang yaya is yung mismong nanay niya. So very good. Ayan. So later when the child was old enough, she took him to the king's daughter. Ayan. Nung malaki na yung dinala niya yung bata sa prinsesa who adopt him as her own son. Ayan. So napakaswerte nitong si Moses. So she said to herself, I pulled him out of the water and so I named him Moses. Yan. So ang nagpangalan talaga kay Moses is yung princess na anak ng king ng Egypt. So when Moses had grown up, he went out to visit his people, the Hebrews. Ayan tignan mo ano daw si Moses? Hebrew. Okay, when Moses had grown up, he went out to visit his people, the Hebrews, and he saw how they were forced to do hard labor. He even saw an Egyptian kill a Hebrew, one of Moses' own people. Hindi ko alam kung alam na ni Moses na na Hebrew siya, no? Pero siguro naman sa feature ng kanyang face, malamang mahalata niya na yon. Moses looked all around, and when he saw that no one was watching, he killed the Egyptian and hid his body in the sand. Ayan, so walang nakita niya, wala raw tao sa paligid, so pinatay niya yung Egyptian and tinago niya sa buhangin. The next day, he went back and saw 2 Hebrew men fighting. So may dalawang Hebrew na nag-aaway. He said to the one who was in the wrong, why are you beating up fellow Hebrew? Ayan. The man answered, who made you our ruler and judge? Are you going to kill me just as you killed that Egyptian? May nakakita pala. Then Moses was afraid and said to himself, people have found out what I have done. When the king heard about what had happened, he tried to have Moses killed. Ayan, so nalaman ng king kung ano nangyari. So gustong sinubukan ng hari na papatay si Moses. But Moses fled and went to live in the land of Midian. Ayan, so umalis si Moses, pumunta sa land of Midian. Alam niyo ba ang land of Midian ngayon ay nasa Saudi Arabia. Alright. So one day when Moses was sitting by a well, 7 daughters of Jethro, the priest of Midian, came to draw water and filled the trough for their father's sheep and goats. Ayan. So nasa isang balon itong si Moses kung saan ang mga anak na babae ni Jethro, no, siya yung priest ng Midian, para kumuha ng tubig para sa kanilang mga tupa at kambing. But some shepherds drove Jethro's daughters away. Then Moses went to rescue and watered their animals for them. Ayan, so nirescue niya yung mga chika babes. I mean yung mga daughters ni Jethro na priest. At binigyan niya ng tubig ang mga animals or yung mga alagang hayop ng mga anak ni Jethro. So when they returned to their father, he asked, "Why have you come back so early today?" So umuwi pala na maaga tong mga anak ni Jethro na babae, no? So an Egyptian rescued us from the shepherd. So ang tingin nila ngayon kay Moses is an Egyptian kasi galing siya sa Egypt. They answered, and he even drew water for us and watered our animals. Okay. So where is he? He asked his daughters. So tinanong ni Jethro ang kanyang mga anak na babae kung nasaan siya. Why did you leave the man out there? Go and invite him to eat with us. Yan. So, in-invite nila ngayon si Moses na kumain kasama si Jethro. So Moses decided to live there and Jethro gave him his daughter Zipporah in marriage. Ayun. At napangasawa pa ngayon tuloy ni Moses si Zipporah. So who bore him a son. Okay. Moses said to himself, I'm a foreigner in this land, and so I name him Gershom. Ayan. Ito yung anak ni Moses, no? Gershom. Years later, the king of Egypt died, but the Israelites were still groaning under their slavery and cried out for help. Their cry went up to God. Ayan, so years later ito yung king daw ng Egypt namatay, but the Israelites were still groaning under their slavery and cried out for help. Their cry went up to God. Ayan. So talagang umiiyak ng mga Israelites na naiiwan na sa Egypt dahil sa slavery na ginagawa nito mga Egyptians. Alright, so ito na. Ang maganda ng story natin. Who heard the groanings and remembered this covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Kanino daw may covenant si God? Kay Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Ano yung covenant? Kasunduan. Alright. That I will be your God and you will be my people. No? From you, no? From Abraham, no? Yung promise ni God of salvation, doon manggagaling kay Abraham. Okay, sa descendants niya. Through Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Nabanggit ba si Ishmael? Wala, di ba? Anak siya ni Abraham through Hagar, who is his slave. Pero hindi. Kaya malinaw na malinaw. Nabanggit ba si Esau, na kapatid ni Isaac? Hindi. Kasi ang promise ni God ay malinaw na malinaw. Kay Abraham, kay Isaac, kay Jacob. Kung saan nanggaling ang 12 tribe of Israel. Jacob, also known as Israel, who wrestled with God. Kung babasahin nyo si Genesis. Okay? So, si Abraham, nagkaroon siya ng anak sa Isaac. No? Si Isaac ay nagkaroon ng anak na si Jacob. Yung pala yung kapatid ni Esau, si Jacob. Sorry, kamali ako doon. Ang kapatid pala ni Isaac is si Ishmael, sa servant ni Abraham. Alright? So yun. He saw the slavery of Israelites and was concerned for them. Ayan, naging concern na si God sa slavery na nangyayari kay Isa. Ito na. So kukwento na natin ang encounter ni God. Ni Moses kay God. Okay. So one day, while Moses was taking care of the sheep and goats, his father-in-law Jethro, the priest of Midian, he led the flock across the desert and came to Sinai, the holy mountain. Yeah, Mount Sinai, no? Yung the blackened peak, which is nasa Saudi Arabia din. And kung titignan nyo, kung i-research nyo kung saan yung tunay na location ng Mount Sinai, actually, binakura na yun ng Saudi authority, no? Kasi maraming archaeological facts na talagang blackened yung peak ng mountain. Black yung peak ng mountain at pag tinanggal mo yung black na peak, yung ibabaw lang po ang black. Brown po yung ilalim niya. Meaning, ang umitim lang talaga doon is yung ibabaw. Hindi talaga itim yung pinakabundok. Umitim siya dahil sa presence ni God na dahil sa fire na bumaba doon. Okay. So, and also marami pang evidences. If you wanna search it, punta lang kayo sa YouTube, i-check nyo. There the angel of the Lord appeared to him as a flame coming from the middle of the bush. Ito na yung burning bush. Moses saw the bush was on fire, but that it was not burning up. So, ito So, yung damo or yung bush was on fire pero hindi nasusunog. So, doon, This is strange, he thought. Why isn't the bush burning up? I will go closer and see. Ayan. So, na-curious tong si Moses. Nilapitan niya ang burning bush. When the Lord saw that Moses was coming closer, he called to him from the middle of the bush and said, Moses, Moses. He answered, Yes, here I am. Yan, tinawag siya dun sa ni Lord. God said, Do not come any closer. Take off your sandals because you are standing on holy ground. I am the God of your ancestors. Sino daw ancestors ni Moses? The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Ito masyadong malinaw. Galing kay Abraham na may dalawang anak, si Isaac at Ishmael. Pero si Isaac ang nabanggit dahil doon nagfo-flow ang kanyang promise. And then Jacob, na may dalawa ding, si Isaac may dalawang anak, Jacob and Esau. Pero dahil si Esau ay binenta niya kay Jacob ang kanyang birthright, kung babasahin mo si Genesis, mababasa mo ang kwento ni Esau at saka ni Si Jacob is the younger son of Isaac and si Esau po ang panganay. Supposed to be si Esau po ang may makaka-receive ng blessing na Isaac, Pero ang promise ni God ay napunta kay Jacob. Okay, so Moses covered his face because he was afraid to look at God. Kinover ni Moses ang kanyang face. Then the Lord said, I have seen how cruelly my people are being treated in Egypt. I have heard them cry out to be rescued from their slave drivers. I know all about their sufferings. And so I have come down to rescue them from the Egyptians and to bring them out of Egypt to a spacious land, one which is rich and fertile, and in which the Canaanites and the Hittites, the Amorites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites now live. I have indeed heard the cry of my people, and I see how the Egyptians are oppressing them. So nakikita ni God lahat ng paghihirap ng mga Israelites sa Egyptians. So now I'm sending you to the king of Egypt so that you can lead my people out of this country. Ayan, kung sa napanood nyo yung Prince of Egypt, diba? Let my people go. Yan yung sigaw. Alright. So, eto. Basically, hindi na natin pag-uusapan talaga yung entire story ni Moses sa episode na to. Para pag-usapan natin is yung pinaka-encounter ni Moses kay God. So, but Moses said to God, I am nobody. Yan. How can I go to the king and bring the Israelites out of Egypt? Kung matatandaan nyo, namatay na yung king ng Egypt, di ba? Na humahunting kay Moses. So, basically, iba na yung king na nandito ngayon. So, hindi siya kilala talaga ng king. Siguro nga, hindi nga niya alam na may ginawa to si Moses. Ayan. So, di ba, parang kakaiba, di ba? Sakop ng gobyerno ng Egypt ang mga Israelite during that time. Para sabihin mo yung leader or yung king ng government na yan, na kukunin mo ang kanilang resources or manpower at papalisin mo ng Egypt, 'di ba? Sino ka, 'di ba? Kaya sabi ni Moses, I am nobody, how can I go to the king and bring the Israelites out of Egypt? So, titingnan natin yung situation ni Moses dito. Sobrang hirap. And sa fact na first time niya dito na meet si God, hindi pa niya alam kung gaano ka-powerful si God during this time. Kasi nga hindi pa niya na-experience yung mga miracles during this time. Yung palang burning bush. God answered, I will be with you, and when you bring the people out of Egypt, you will worship me on this mountain. That will be the proof that I have sent you. Ayan yung proof na i-worship ni Moses dito sa Mount Sinai, si God, at madadala niya ang mga Israelites doon. Diba? Sobrang mission impossible nito. Kung iisipin mo, kung ikaw ang nasa situation ni Moses, sobrang mission impossible to. Pero possible to kay God. And, let's go. But Moses replied, when I go to the Israelites and say to them, the God of your ancestors sent me to you, they will ask me what is his name. So what can I tell them? Eto na tayo ngayon. Eto na yung mga issue ng name. Eto na yun. Diba? Ang dami nagsasabi, there is no other God and there's no other messenger kuno, kundi ito, si Kwan, si Kwan. Ha! I tell you, the God that you're referring to is different from the God of the Bible. Kasi ito ang sinagot niya. Ha? Ito ang sinagot niya. God said, I am who I am. You must tell them. The one who is called I am has sent me to you. Alright. Tignan mo ha. Gusto ni God, makilala mo siya kung sino siya as He really is. Kaya nga, I am who I am. Diba? Kasi ang name, nakakonect yan to a certain character. Attributes. Pag tinawag kitang Judas, diba? Ang Judas po ay pangalan yan. First name po yan dati. Bakit hindi na siya ginagamit masyado ngayon? Dahil may nakakabit na character dyan. Right? So, pag sinabi ni God, I am who I am, kilalanin mo muna siya in character. Right? Kasi kung kikilalanin mo siya in name, maraming pwedeng mag-claim ng ganyang name, but the character is different. So para mo lang sisirain yung pangalan nun, no? Kaya nga maraming nagka-claim na Christ or Christian, but they're not really Christians. Who claim to be son of God as well, no? Or appointed son of God. Pero kung titingnan mo ang character ang layo, sinisira niya yung pangalan ni Christ. So malamang kaya sinabi ni God ito dahil, 'di ba? Maraming pwedeng mag-claim na sila 'yon, no? So sabi niya, I am has sent me to you. Ito pa yung trademark. Tell the Israelites that I, the Lord, the God of their ancestors, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Alright. Sinabi ba dito God of Ishmael? Hindi, 'di ba? Sinabi ba dito God of Esau, na kapatid ni Jacob? Hindi, di ba? Isaac ang sinabi dito, hindi God of Ishmael. Right? So, God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob has sent you to them. This is my name forever. This is what all future generations are to call me. And that's exactly what the generation are calling God right now. The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Yan. Masyadong specific yan. Okay. Kasi dito mo malalaman na itong God ni Abraham, ni Isaac, ni Jacob, ito rin yung God na gumawa ng heaven and earth. Because si Abraham ay descendants from Adam and Eve. Lahat naman tayo nagaling doon, right? Pero, di ba, sa kanila talaga yung promise ni God. Go and gather the leaders of Israel together and tell them that I, the Lord, the God of their ancestor, God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, appeared to you. Tell them that I have come to them and have seen that what the Egyptians are doing to them. I have decided that I will bring them out of Egypt, where they were being treated cruelly, and will take them to a rich and fertile land, the land of the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hivites, and the Jebusites. Buti na lang walang termites. Ayan. Okay, so to wrap it up, my people will listen to what you say to them, my people will listen to what you say to them, then you must go with the leaders of Israel to the king of Egypt and say to him, the Lord, the God of the Hebrews. Tignan mo napakalinaw. The Lord, the God of the Hebrews. Ano daw ulit? The Lord, the God of the Hebrews. Ano daw ulit? The Lord, the God of the Hebrews has revealed himself to us. Parang hindi ko yata narinig the Lord, the God of the Arabs. Anyway, mamaya, has revealed himself to us. Now, allow us to travel 3 days into the desert to offer sacrifices to the Lord our God. I know that the king of Egypt will not let you go unless he is forced to do so. But I will use my power and will punish Egypt by doing terrifying things there. After that, he will let you go. I will make the Egyptian respect you so that when my people leave, they will not go empty-handed. Actually, no, kung babasahin mo yung the rest of the chapters of the story, this is exactly what happened. And ganito katindi, no, pag yung message ni God to His prophet, no, come true or came true or have come to pass, that means galing talaga kay God yung prophecy. Ganyang katindi ang mga prophets dati. And pwede kang mamatay pag ikaw ay prophet ni God or you're claiming to be a prophet of God pero yung sinabi mo hindi nangyari. No? Pag sinabi mong prophet ka at nag-prophesy ka ng something at hindi nangyari, then that message is not from God and therefore you have blasphemed God, no? Or dinumihan mo ang pangalan ni God by claiming to be a prophet during that time. Alright. So, to cut the story short, no, ito, sabi dito, every Israelite woman will go to her Egyptian neighbors and to any Egyptian woman living in her house and will ask for clothing and for gold and silver and jewelry. The Israelite will put these things on their sons and daughters and carry away the wealth of the Egyptians. At nangyari po ito if we're gonna read the later chapters. Okay. So hindi lang yan, napakarami pa pong prophecy in the Bible that is continually happening as of this time at nangyayari po ito ngayon. Alright? Na nangyayari ngayon at marami pa pong mangyayari pang iba. Ganito po ka-unique ang Bible. So if you wanna test it and you wanna read it and you wanna really see, no, ang truth, no, you have to read it and test it for yourself. And if you want to search for the evidences o if yung Exodus, no, na pag-alis ng mga Israelites from Egypt, no, to show the power of God in the sa buong mundo during that time, is talagang nangyari through the evidences. And you search for that and makikita nyo talaga na it makes sense. At talagang nangyari ang mga bagay na ito. So, hindi na natin pahabain, no? So, basically, ito lang po yung short story na, actually, hindi siya short Napakahaba ng story nito at aabutin tayo ng ilang oras kung tatapusin na natin ito. So, we'll continue this one on the later episode. Okay? So, once again, Kuya Lanza naman, sana na hindi kayo na-bored sa ating kwentuhan today. And peace out. Oh, teka lang. Subscribe ka muna, syempre. Bye-bye!